We've seen an increase in the active listings here in the San Luis Obispo County market. We've seen an increase in the median days on market year over year, and we've seen a slight pullback in the closed sales price. What does this mean? Does this mean that we are in a market correction or balancing out supply and demand? What's going on? Well, you've come to the right video. We'll give you my perspective as a real estate broker here on the Central Coast with Keller Williams on what's going on, what you can be best prepared for as a buyer entering the market. Maybe you're relocating here from out of the area. Maybe you're buying your first home. Maybe you're selling your first home. Maybe you're selling your last home. Whatever the situation is, we want to make sure you are best informed and confident when you are making your decisions. Let's go ahead and get started. This is your June 2025 real estate market report for the Central Coast. Please like and subscribe. It's very easy. It means a lot. So click on that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already, and leave a comment. What do you think is going to be going on in the real estate market here on the Central Coast? Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with transaction volume. We saw a slight decrease year over year, $433 million of closed volume in the month of May. Now, when we compare that to 2024 in May, we were at $455 million, which was down from 2023 of $574 million. Now, this $433 million of closed transaction volume for last month was due to 210 closed sales. Now, we were down a little bit when we compare to 2024, which was 230, and that was down again from 2023, 17%, which was 280 closed sales May 2023. So we've seen a decrease in the overall transaction volume. We've also seen a decrease in the number of units sold last month in May. What has that done to the sales price for last month? We saw two consecutive decreases in the median sales price here for the county. Back in April, it was $899, and in March, it was $925,000. So we saw a little bit of a decrease, a little bit of a correction when it comes to the sales price here for the last couple months. Are we going to continue to see that trend? Are we going to stabilize here at around $830,000, $840,000 for the median sales price? Well, time will tell. I think that we're seeing a supply and demand kind of struggle, especially with these elevated interest rates. And as you'll see here in a moment, we are increasing the level of inventory here on the county. However, we're still down from historic numbers pre-2020. So let's take a little bit closer deeper dive here when it comes to the median sales price. So 836, like I mentioned, for May, 807 in 2024 for May, and 830 2023. So we're trending very similar to what we saw 2 years ago in 2023, and we're probably going to continue to see the stabilization there, but we are headed into the summer months. And generally speaking, we see a slight pullback in demand during the summer months, especially in August. And as we head into fall for September, a lot of people have kids headed back to school. They're starting to gear up for that fall school year. Maybe they're finished up with their summer break. So my advice, if you're a seller, take a look at, if you're thinking about selling, list sooner than later so that you don't head into that late summer, early fall where things start to decrease a little bit when it comes to that demand. So when it comes to demand, a really great statistic that I like to take a look at, I sit down with my buyers and my sellers and investors, and we talk about the list price and the sales price and what the difference is. So when we see the sale price increase over the list price, on the average, we're seeing that the demand is increased over the supply. But when you start to see a significant decrease, let's say 5% off of the ask price versus the close price, that starts to give us an indication that demand is waning a little bit when it comes to supply. However, right now we continue to see strong demand versus supply here for the county, with about 98% list to close ratio. 98.3% for 2025 in May, 100% in 2024, and 100% in 2023. Let's talk about the supply. So when we compare to last year, we have seen an increase of nearly 30% when it comes to the active listings. 845 compared to 651 in 2024, which was up in 2023 when we had only 520. That was one of the lowest years when we factored in the inventory levels. So we've seen a positive movement with more inventory, more options. So that means, maybe you were a seller and you were thinking, maybe you had your house listed back in 2023. You probably got a lot of offers, but if you were purchasing a replacement property, you're going to have some trouble because there's not very many homes to take a look at, not a lot of available options for you. So we've seen those options increase, which is a good thing for you contingent sellers and for you buyers and investors if you just want some more options, right? We want some more options when we're out there looking and shopping for a home. So that is a good thing. What does that inventory increase mean? Does that mean that we're going to see a pullback in pricing? Does that mean that the demand is going to meet the supply? Well, time will tell. But to give you an idea, just to put this in perspective, in 2019, we saw around 1,300 homes active on the market, and this stayed pretty consistent in years past, where we saw about 1,200 to 1,500 active listings during this time frame, which is one of the most popular times to go shopping or to sell your home. So I anticipate the inventory to gradually increase. This has been quite a few years that we've seen such historic low inventory. So in my estimation, as a broker, helping people buy, helping people sell, if you're pricing correctly to today's market, you're going to get your house sold up to 98, well, close to 98% or 100% of your asking price. But if you overprice your home, as we continue to see more inventory, buyers are just going to see you're overpriced compared to the market, and they're going to go look elsewhere because they're seeing more houses come on the market. So what I'm telling you, sellers who have unrealistic expectations, you're going to have to make a price adjustment to meet the market. Now, granted, there are unique properties out there and they may have some unique set of criteria when it comes to buyers. But if you're selling a home, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, just a traditional home here on the Central Coast, and there's nothing really unusual about it, just price it correctly to make sure that you are getting that attention that you should in that first week or two. And if you start increasing past those days on market, that's average for the county, you might need to make a price adjustment. But now is the time to price according to today's market, not according to the market that we might have seen 6 months, a year ago, or 2 years ago. So that's my advice for sellers. Let's talk median days on market. Now, this is an important one to keep an eye on if you're a seller and if you're a buyer. So if you're a buyer and you're seeing that a house has stayed on the market past the average days on market, which right now is about 35, which is pretty historically consistent, pretty average, right, here in the county. Between 25 to 35, maybe 40 days on market is the average, right? So if you are a seller and you're not getting those offers within the first month or so, pretty good chance that you are not priced according to what the market is saying it should be priced at. And if you're a buyer, this is one of the best ways to get a good deal. Wait until a house, or you see a house that maybe has been on the market for a little while and it's just not getting offers. It's a great opportunity to come in and place an offer based on what you believe the value is according to the market. You're probably not going to be bidding against multiple other bidders on that first week. First week on the market, typically you're going to have, if it's priced right, a couple other buyers as competition. But a great strategy, if you see a property that's maybe gotten a little stagnant, not as much attention, not as many showings, come on in and make that offer, it's a good chance that you may be getting a little bit of a discount, and you can negotiate those credits because it's just going to be between you and the seller. So an important number to keep an eye on right now, average days on market for the county, 35. So as we look forward into the future, we take a look at the inventory month supply. As this increases, we start to see that the supply is increasing versus the demand, right? So we're going to naturally see price reductions as a result of that. Historically, we're about 4.5 inventory month supply. So if no new listings came to the market and all of the demand, all the buyers out there and the consistent closings, you'd have about 4 months, 4.5 months before all the inventory was cleared out, right? So in a hot seller's market, typically you're going to have low inventory month supply. And in a more balanced market, you're going to get that around 4.5, 5 months. Here, typically it's going to be lower because we're such a high demand area. But let's pull up the chart and take a look at the inventory month supply. And this is an important one to keep an eye on because it really gives a good indicator of that balance between supply and demand. We've seen a 32% increase year over year for inventory month supply for May. 4.1 versus 3.1 in 2024 versus 2.5 in 2023. So you can do the math. As we increase the inventory levels, we're going to probably see some price reductions, price adjustments, price corrections, price improvements, however you want to look at it. But that doesn't mean that we're seeing any kind of crash. We're just seeing a slight market correction due to these elevated interest rates and this increase of inventory. So overall, a more balanced, more normal market like we've seen in pre-COVID years. So overall, good sign. We're still seeing healthy demand. A lot of people wanting to move here, relocate here to the Central Coast because we've got such great weather, such great climate, amazing beaches, top-rated beaches, and we continue to see that influx of out of the area relocation buyers. And if that's you and you'd like to learn a little bit more about the Central Coast and you'd like to talk to a native, I'm a native, I grew up here, then feel free to reach out. Be happy to walk you through what areas, what streets, what neighborhoods, what cities might be the best fit for you, your budget, criteria, and your lifestyle. So feel free to reach out and be happy to walk you through that. So let's talk a little bit about what I'm seeing and some strategies. I said a little bit before on kind of some strategies for buyers and sellers out there, but I think it still remains true. For sellers out there, you need to price according to the market currently, according to the increase in inventory, which means an increase in competition. Buyers have more homes to take a look at. So let's just say an example. Let's say Mr. and Mrs. Smith are buying their first home, and they have a budget of $650,000, and they're looking in Paso, Robles. A couple years ago, there might have been 4 or 5 options to choose from, and those options would have gone pending if they were priced right within the first week or 2. Now they might have 7, 8, 9 options to choose from, and they're staying longer on the market. So they have more options. They're going to be more picky about what they want based on their budget. And you as a seller need to be aware of that so that you are pricing accordingly and attractive so that you can get the buyers looking at your property and maybe getting those multiple bids to push that price up, maybe even a little bit over that asking price. So now's the time to be really strategic about pricing and make sure that you're not skimping on the marketing and those photos if you are taking your house to the market because there's more competition. So what we're doing, for example, is we're making sure we're getting excellent drone shots. We're retouching the photos. We're making sure that we get the sunset shots. We're making sure that we have a floor plan. We're making sure that everything is really dialed in when it comes to those photos. We're staging our vacant listings so that when the buyer's out there looking on their phone, right, they've got their phone, they're flipping through the different photos, just like maybe on Hinge or in Match.com, and they're looking through 1, 2, 3, 4 photos. If it piques their interest, they're going to show their husband or wife, or maybe they're just buying by themselves. They're just going to go, wow, this is perfect. I want to schedule a showing, and they're going to call their agent and schedule a showing. But if you have lackluster photos, if it's not great marketing and the photos are not excellent, then it's not going to stand out versus the competition. So making sure that you really focus in on the selling point of your house. Maybe it's got a pool. Get that pool, that first couple photos there, so that a buyer who's looking for that, they are going to be able to see that. Or maybe it's you got a great view. Make sure that you highlight that, because those buyers have attention deficit disorder nowadays, and they don't have that much time to go through online to look through all of the photos. They're probably going to be moving on the fourth or fifth photo if they're not intrigued. So really important as a seller, just be aware that increase of competition, but doesn't mean you're going to not get top dollar for a home that's priced well that you're listing. Again, for those buyers out there, just making sure that you're prepared, you're pre-qualified, you're ready to go when the right property comes up, and you can put an offer in that makes sense for you. We're seeing more negotiations when it comes to credits to help buy down that rate or buy down your closing costs. So you've got a little bit more money. Maybe you need to do some minor renovations, painting, new flooring. Those credits negotiated can help you out there. Let me know. What do you want to see on our next video? And again, of course, if you have any questions, you want to interview my team, feel free to reach out. We're here to help, here to bring value for you as a buyer, seller, investor, relocator, whatever the situation is. We are here to help you out. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Take care now.